What's going on, y'all? It's your boy D Weezy. Welcome back to another video. Now, before I get into it, yes, this is the same night I recorded the last video that I posted. So just in case people try to think I'm dirty or something or musty or whatever, listen, I'm recording two videos in the same day, so I was going to deal with that. With that being said, let's just hop into the topic of this video. Coming off of me watching a show that has a lot of emotional aspects in it, like the summer Hikaru died, it got me thinking about the most emotional anime that I've ever watched in my life. Now, throughout anime, I've seen a lot of shows that's built around emotion. I've seen a lot of anime that has emotional moments in it. So a lot of times that emotion is one of the things that many anime fans starts to look for in an animation. People really like to see characters go through emotional times, no matter if it's good emotions, either it's sad emotions, due to the situation that said character or character. Because an emotional character can really help people make that character be their favorite because it can be showing of vulnerability, it can be happiness, it can be sadness, it can be angry, it can be loving, and also the emotional situation they're in, they could relate to that. And one of the things that a lot of people love to see nowadays is relatability, like how relatable this character or these characters are. With that being said, the most emotional anime that I ever watched in my life is called A Silent Voice. It is a 2016 movie built around this kid named Shoya who was bullying this girl named Shoka, who was a deaf disability human. Years go by, and he ends up regretting all the things that he did, and he ends up meeting up with Shoko one day to try to make amends. That's what this film was pretty much about. When I tell you that this anime was so emotional to me, it legit almost made me cry. I was this close to shedding some tears, y'all. I never cry when it comes to watching something that's emotional. I done seen some of my favorite characters die. I done seen some of my favorite characters cry in agony because they lost someone that's close to them. But a silent voice almost did it. I would highly recommend this movie to y'all if you really love emotional like I am. I grew up loving seeing emotions being showcased and highlighted. So a silent voice is definitely going to be the one for you, and to all us out here that really love to see stuff like that. Now, going back to the plot of it, Joya was bullying Shoko in elementary school. It was around the time to when kids gonna do what kids do. Kids do stuff without even thinking. They don't think about consequences. They don't think about what they actually can lead in the future. They just more worried about the present. They worry about doing stuff because maybe their friends are doing it. It probably sounds cool or looks cool when other people are doing it. So when Shoya was bullying Shoko, he didn't really think about it being a bad thing. He don't think about him biting him in the butt in the future. He just thinking, oh well, since all these all my classmates are doing it, why I might as well do it, right? They come to find out when them growing up and them being in high school, when Shoya met Shoko, and now he finally going back and realizing that what he was doing was very wrong. You can tell one of the reasons because it got to the point to when, especially Shoko, started bleeding because they keep on yanking her hearing aid out, and we all know hearing aid costs some bread. We talking four figures, as big as four figures. So for them to constantly yank the new hearing aids out, and for the mom and them to have to replace it to give her new ones, it was really hard, bro. But like I said, kids don't think like that. They just do whatever and just worrying about what they did like 5 plus years later, thinking, "Oh man, it was messed up." Of course, it was messed up, dude. But going back to this, one of the ways that Shoya was trying to make a man with Shoko is that he wanted to learn sign language because obviously that was Shoko's main source of communication. With her being deaf, sign language was her go-to. But obviously, starting on, he so fresh into it. He didn't really know too much. He probably only knew how to say hi or how are you, just a simple greeting kind of questions. It would end up being a case when Shoko was writing stuff on a tablet, and every time that she wanted to ask a question or respond to something, he would say, she would just show him that, and that's how they would just communicate at first. And then fast forward, it would progress on to the point to when he actually got really comfortable doing sign language. He actually got to the point to when fast forward, he was getting real comfortable doing sign language. He was doing all sorts of conversation. He was starting conversations. He was just showing how fluid he was with it as well. As somebody who went from not knowing any of it at all to him being comfortable with doing it, it was a good sight to see. It was a good sign of maturity. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about it. Now, one of the breaking points for me to make me believe that this show is very emotional, it got to that moment when Shoko and Shoya, they was at this bridge, and this was around the time to when Shoko was starting to fall in love with Shoya because she was seeing him being mature. He was being the emotionally mature person. He was like way back when he was in elementary school. And Shoko ended up falling in love with him. And it got to the point to when Shoko basically told Shoya that I love you. But with her being deaf, it was a hard time for her to actually say it. So instead of Shoya saying I love you too, Shoya was saying in the rounds of Shoya was misinterpreting what Shoko said, and which leads to Shoko feeling sad and feeling sad about herself. And it led to Shoko being sad about herself. And we kind of see her being very emotional about it. And Shoya was being the person that was just there say, hey, and Shoya was just being known pretty much. And I believe that at that specific moment, that's when this film gets really, really emotional. I think that moment right there is the tie to when everything just starts to fall in line, if I should say. Even with all kind of films, there's always that one moment that everyone can just pinpoint and say, you know what, from this point on, everything's going to go down. Which will lead me to the actual moment to when I believe that this is the most emotional anime of my life. It was this moment to when Shoya and Shoko was at the fireworks show and they was with each other the whole night. And we seen Shoko was wearing the yukata and Shoya was pulling up in his whatever fit. They was talking about things. They was getting showcased around. They was eating food. It's just typical festival things. We see it all the time. Fireworks show pops off. We get them on with them two, standing side by side, watching the fireworks together. But then we get this sudden transition to when all of a sudden Shoko leaves. And Shoya's staying around, and Shoko staying around for a little bit afterwards, and then he realized that she left. So he went on and just started looking for her. And then we get this scene to when Shoko was looking at the fireworks show continuing on the balcony. Now, due to this freaking moment, every time I see someone close to a balcony or a ledge, I immediately think of the freaking words. I ain't gonna say it, but I'm just gonna let you picture in your head. And then we get when Shoya finds Shoko. Shoko is standing on top of the balcony and she's about to freaking do it. She didn't say a word to anybody. She didn't warn anyone. She didn't even give off so many signs. She's just sitting there and she attempted it. You know what I'm talking about, so I ain't gonna say it. She attempted it. And Shoko saves her, but it turns out he ends up getting hurt in the process. And at that specific moment, like I said, every time I see a character standing on a freaking balcony or a ledge or standing really close to something, I immediately think they're going to attempt it. It's the same thing with Oshiko standing on the ledge during the end of the My Hero series. I was thinking that. I seen it quite often. Shizui did it in Naruto, so I know y'all feel me. I just know. I ain't the only one out here. But that moment right there really made me realize that Crown in this show is the most emotional anime that I've ever watched so far. You just imagine a deaf person attempting it. It wouldn't cause as much immediate static as somebody that's like well known, as somebody that was always playful, or somebody that's always cheerful and joyful, always playing with people. This is a person that is deaf. This is a person that dealt with, like I said, when she was elementary school, she was dealing with people who would yank her hearing aid out so bad that her ears started bleeding. It would always break. And her parents couldn't afford to keep constantly replacing them because of how expensive they were. It got to the point to when, and to now see her at that moment thinking, I'm better off doing this than continuing to live on. That right there really said it for me personally. And after that moment, it got to the point to when Shoya was starting to think about it himself. Now we got to that other moment with another very emotional moment when they share between Shoya and his mom. With his mom asking him why you want to do that to yourself. And then she found out because he had it circled in his calendar on the day he planned to do it. And then she got really emotional about it because it got to that point to when it woke Shoya up. The fact that his mom is just screaming about him, saying that, "Hey, look, promise me you won't do it, or continue to do it. I'm gonna tear this money up that you gave me because I would rather have you live than have to take this money." You know, for a person that really close to me, like my son, is planning on attempting something that can be very fatal. And it got to that point when Shoya looked at him and said, "You know what? I gotta make something shake. I officially woken up. I woke up from this." From that moment on, we did gratefully get Shoya and Shoko get the happy ending. We got to the point to transition to when Shoya and Shoko was on their knees and both of them was being very emotional to each other, and both of them was crying out about each other's regrets and thinking about what they could have done better, thinking about what they should have did to hopefully make things right. And we get a happy ending. Thankfully, we got a happy ending because if we didn't get a happy ending from that emotional stuff, I ain't gonna lie to you, I still really love this film, but I just probably wouldn't have cried. If they went through all that to not get a happy ending, I probably would have shed a few tears. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. But overall, I really love this film. This film is the most emotional anime I've ever seen so far. I've seen a lot of emotional moments in emotional anime myself. I haven't seen one that topped that yet. I haven't seen it yet. And that film came out in 2016, 10 years ago. So we talking about by a year, but if we're doing by dating stuff, it probably haven't reached 10 years yet. We're going to say 9 years ago from that. But you get my point. So yeah, man, let me know what y'all most emotional anime y'all ever watched in y'all lives in the comments down below. Is it the one that I mentioned, or it could be something completely different? Let me know about it, and let me know how it made you feel when you're watching it. I wanted to see what y'all probably thinking about in the comments. Y'all probably gonna put me on, not gonna lie. And with that being said, you want to do all the stuff that YouTubers say at the end of the videos, you can do that or not. Like I always say, you grown, you do whatever you want. With that being said, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out, y'all.